Roots worship. It's such an interesting term. I think it ultimately comes down to, personally for you, what's the style of music that hits you right here? That hits you in your chest, in your soul.
I think of Adam Russell, and he talks about indigenous worship and kind of sounds that are indigenous to that body of people, that body of worshipers, and reflects what God is doing in that community.
So if you say, well, roots worship is country, rock, folk, blues, gospel, and da-da-da, and I think it's something broader than that. Although at this point, yeah, that's kind of the musical styles. And
I think largely it is being defined by the people that are doing it, and there's a sound that's coming out of that, and there's an Americana kind of vibe that JB brings to it. That's how I like to call him. And and Ryan Delmore, I think they really got a ball rolling, so to speak.
Yeah, I think just the idea of roots is basics, simplicity. There's just something that comes to mind. It's real raw and honest. Not that intricate arrangements and other music isn't honest, but there's you could be alone with an acoustic guitar that's a little bit out of tune, and they call it roots. Or the musical side is there's simplicity and a rawness to it. You can just set up, barely sound check, and just go for it.
All who are thirsty, all who are weak, come to the fountain. Dip your heart in the stream of life. Let the pain and the sorrow be washed away in the waves of His mercy. As deep cries out to deep, we sing, come Lord Jesus.
So maybe it's more of a country style, maybe it's a little more soulful, or has some some reggae influence, or maybe it's straight up blues. There's sort of all these. We have a wonderful, in the U.S. we've got this wonderful mix of musical traditions that now, with all the way that these things have played together, with blues, jazz, rock and roll, country music, bluegrass, and you get the infusion of the reggae styles. You just have this great, sound that you can get, and that with a group of musicians, especially like the ones we have this weekend, that have these very different influences and very different preferences in how they play, I think it becomes something pretty cool. But
there's something in those musical styles, kind of like what we do, that's pretty simple, that strips away, all the lights and glitz and glamour of, the big rock and roll worship, and strips it away to where there's the essence of a song, and it should be a good song, but it leads you to a place where you can, how can I put this? It demonstrates something simple, something stripped down, something that's approachable, something that's not trying to be something that it's not.
In this particular setting, it's kind of an acoustic, rock and roll roots thing is the sound, but the heart of it is the DNA of how Vineyard was born, and just the intimacy, really, and making sure we don't lose that, and really just kind of going back to like, why do we worship like this? Why do we do this? And kind of takes you back to falling in love with Jesus and those love songs that you got saved to.
And so then it's more than just the sound. It's just something that's I guess it's authentic to the group of people that are using that music and that are experiencing that music and that are also generating that music. And it probably, probably takes different forms depending on what people are stepping up to. But I think it's that ethic of really being kind of local, relevant, embedded in real people.
I also think there's something to be said for roots being where you are. That your roots are in your local church, in your local body, the local expression of what your church is doing, and encouraging. I mean, I know in our church we encourage a culture of songwriting. There's every Sunday at least one, if not two, of our songs are originals from within the Chatty Vineyard. I mean, we're not trying to be rock stars with it. That's just, we've got guys that's their heart, and so that to them, I mean, that becomes an expression of roots worship. It's where you're at.
And your rescue is sure, 'cause His love doesn't change. His love doesn't change. And brothers and sisters, for He calls you by name. You are safe and you're home now. You'll find mercy here. You are safe and you're home now. You'll find mercy here. You'll find mercy here.
We're here on the East Coast, hanging out at 3 vineyards this weekend. We're at the North Jersey Vineyard, and we are at the Rockville Center Vineyard, which was the first vineyard in the Northeast, or at least in the metropolitan New York area. And then we're at the Trash Bar, which is where the North Brooklyn Vineyard holds their services.
Most of the backstory is Mike Tergiano's an old friend of mine, and for years he's been telling me and asking me, come out to New York, I want you to come out, and visit with us and worship at our church. And I would, every time I'd see him every now and again, I'd go, nah, okay, we'll do it, but I don't, I don't want to go to New York. This last year, I emailed Mike and I said, okay, this year, for some reason I said it, I don't really know why at this point. I don't know what I got myself into. But I said, hey, okay, so Mike, we'll do it this year. And so I thought, boy, because again, I'm kind of always been off the grid guy. I thought, boy, that'd be sure great to record it, just to see what it sounded like, what would happen. And then, and again, the almost rebellious nature of me says, boy, that's a place to record a live worship record. If there's one thing that's vineyard, it's recording a worship record in a bar.
Yes, the Lord is my strength and my song. Yes, He is. And I will give thanks for the things that You've done. Oh, the miracles I've seen, the miracles I've seen, the healing in Your grace, Your love is over me forever, forever.
I often think about how there can be this sense that I need to clean myself up to get into the church, to get into it musically or otherwise, and to be presentable. And and I think there's kind of this crossover space that a lot of people are there. They're not necessarily in church, but also not necessarily like anti or away from. Just kind of in this space. It's just life.
The thought of playing like at a church that isn't a bar is very different, but I think at the same time it's cool because it's like that's what Jesus would do. He'd play like if he played guitar or whatever, he'd play at a bar and just kind of like hang out. I think it's a great different opportunity. So
you know, and so I feel like I mean I want to meet people where they're at, and so it's not always going to be Sunday morning, and that's actually fine for me. I mean I really enjoy being in, you know, I mean you could say secular spaces, but it's just spaces, just where people come together. Just where people come together, I like to be there.
We're called to go to the places Jesus went. You know, and it's not an issue. It's not a statement on alcohol. You know, it's not a statement on any of that. It's just a statement on Jesus might go in there.
We're trying to do something that, you know, we haven't necessarily done. Yeah, we've done recordings before, and this is going to be a recording, but we want it to be more than that. We want it to equip and ignite something. We want it to impact, you know, more than just a collection of friends worshiping together. This is an opportunity to maybe build relationships through getting to know the backstories and finding out what's happening and finding out why they would even be in this place to do what they're doing now. And so we'll see what happens.